Okay, when you're ready. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. My name, like Stacy said, my name is Alice Seipelt. I am the Community Resource Coordinator and Local Contracts Administrator for Washtenaw County MDHHS. Um, she had asked me to come and do kind of a brief overview of the SCR program. Um, I don't tend to read every word on every slide because these slides will be available to everyone after the presentation, and I also hyperlinked in policy and resources for reference. And I wanted to make sure I had time for any Q&A that you guys might have. So just kind of a general overview. Um, MDHHS offers the SER program, which stands for State Emergency Relief. It is designed to help low-income households that are normally able to make ends meet but have an unexpected emergency. It's not really a support that's available for an ongoing problem or chronic financial difficulties. There is two different income limits for the SCR program. We have our energy assistance program, which is typically gas, electric, sometimes propane or fuel oil. And that has a fairly high, income limit. That's according to the federal poverty guidelines. And if a household exceeds the income limit for an energy-related SCR, then they are not eligible for energy-related assistance. On the sort of opposite side of that are our non-energy related requests. It does have a much lower monthly income limit. However, the dollar amount that a family exceeds that limit becomes their copay. It's not an automatic denial based on income like it would be for energy related assistance. Um, for non-energy related assistance, DHHS does include the available cash assets to the household, but that does not include a home, vehicle, or physical assets, like tangible assets. That's just liquid cash. Um, our energy services are probably the most popular SCR that we have. And with that, we've had several changes over the last few years. A household can only receive one SCR payment for heat and one for non-heat electricity, i.e. gas or deliverable fuel, um, up to the payment cap, which are listed below, in one fiscal year. Once a household has used their available SCR for the year, we tend to refer them to our MEAP providers. And our most common meat providers are also listed on the screen. And when I could, I included hyperlinks to reach out to their website for more information. Utility services, that typically is water or sewer charges. I don't know that I've ever seen one for cooking gas, but I'm sure it's happened. Um, there's not a limit on how many times a household can receive a emergency payment for utility service as long as they do not exceed the annual fiscal year cap. So for example, water and sewer is $350 per fiscal year. If someone had a water shut off for $100, they could reapply and potentially be eligible for additional SER help until they hit that $350 annual limit. The utility services do not include telephone, closed or bankrupt accounts, common meter situations, or back rent. If the landlord has included utility services into the rent, that would become a relocation SCR, which is coming up in a few slides. Oh, the next slide. Sorry, I should have known that. Relocation is another popular SCR. A household can receive more than one SCR for relocation. It just can't exceed the SCR cap for the fiscal year. The group has to be either homeless or at risk of being homeless, and the housing must be affordable. If the housing obligation exceeds more than 75% of their net countable income, the housing by DHHS standards is not affordable and one payment would not solve the emergency. Um, in full transparency, the payment amounts for relocation are extremely low. I don't think they've changed in the 25 years that I've been employed at the department, but the payment amounts are listed below. A family of four, the maximum they could receive for relocation would be $740. Typically, SCR is used in conjunction with other funds, whether that be Hawk funds, SOS, barrier busters, etc. And DHS does have a fairly limited definition of homelessness. Our definition of being homeless is living in a shelter on the street or in a car or a place not meant for human habitation. If a family is at risk of homelessness, they would need to provide court documents. Unfortunately, the demand for possession is not a verification of homelessness, but once they receive the summons with a court date, then that is verification that they are at risk of homelessness. We also have SCR funds available for home ownership. That is most often when a house is in foreclosure, or it could be for a court-ordered eviction of and the actual mobile home from a mobile home park. The lifetime limit for that is $2,000 per household. And the SCR, someone in the SCR group must be the owner or purchaser of their home. It does have to be their permanent residence, cannot be listed for sale, etc. I know I'm going fast, but it's so that I can leave time for questions. For home repairs, again, this would be for client-owned housing, and it's essential to remove a threat to health or safety, or if there was a requirement of a mobile home park in order for a mobile home to remain there. The repair must restore the home to a safe, livable condition. The same sort of home ownership requirements that a group member must be the purchaser or owner. Then it must be a permanent residence, can't be listed for sale. That still all applies. We do have funding to repair or replace a non-functioning furnace up to $4,000 per year. And then other essential repairs such as a hot water heater, doors, windows, electrical, plumbing, etc. We have $1,500 available for those instances. Uh, we do offer SCR for burial. That's probably a little bit more complicated matter. You can tell just by the length of the chart with all the different payment amounts on there. But the biggest things to know about requesting burial assistance is that the request does have to be made no later than 10 business days after the burial or cremation or donation were to take place. If someone does not have an active case at MDHHS, they would have to complete the entire full application, which we call the 1171. I don't know if a lot of people call it that, but the big booklet, if they already have an active case at MDHHS and they just simply need the SCR application to go along with that. I tried to include as many of our resources and references related to the SCR program as I could. Some of these are probably very well known, but I did include a hyperlink directly to my bridges, information on the home heating credit and weatherization program, as well as the MEEP providers. The entire SCR policy manual is included in there. Let me tell you, it is a riveting read. If you have some free time, 10 out of 10. We also rely heavily on referring customers for additional resources such as the United Way, Hawk, legal services, and sometimes for those home ownership and home repairs, we would refer them to the Washtenaw County Home Rehab Program. Lastly, our phone number at Washtenaw County MDHHS is this 1-844 number that is answered by a live caseworker Monday through Friday. As you may or may not know, in August, MDHHS will be moving to what's called universal caseload, and customers' cases will be worked on or accessed or updated on a round robin rotation. There will not be a specific caseworker tied to a specific case. And this 1-844 number has kind of been our way of slowly dipping our toes into it. But we do plan to go live with that this August. And I included my contact information. But I am perfectly happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
There are a couple questions in the chat. Do you see that?
It's hard when you're sharing your screen. Hold on, let me
It
see.
is, it is.
For Ja'Cory Brown, it could be either the applicant or the person who is deceased. That would, obviously the person who's deceased isn't making the application, but the person on behalf of them would not need to fill out a full application if the deceased had an active case at MDHHS. For Nancy, yes, I believe they send out the slides after the meeting is over. And for Beverly, yes, the SCR is a statewide program that is the same in all 83 counties across the state.
Another question too. For the MAPE agencies that you had listed, are those funds still available? Do you know? Or I know last year, I think the funds kind of depleted around June. Do you know if there's still available funds? MAPE funds?
I do believe that some meat providers are probably out of funding. I believe Thaw, I think I heard, is out of funding, but not
Yeah.
all of them are.
Okay.
Can I speak to how the home heating credit? If someone receives a home heating credit on their taxes, that is a direct, how do I say, like a direct information transfer to MDHHS, and then they are given additional credit on their food assistance budget for their utility expense. For relocation, if a family is moving. For relocation, if a family is moving, it would have to be an emergency. So it would have to be an eviction or moving from homelessness to a housing. If they're just moving to relocate units, then no, the SCR program would not be appropriate for the security deposits. Okay.
I'd also like to point out too, and the reason also why I invited you to share this information with us, from the perspective of barrier busters and our funding and what we have available, it's very, very limited. And so for those of you out there that do make barrier buster requests, we have to kind of implement some type of kind of a prioritization of the requests when we look at them. And one of those factors that I look at is, does the request have match funds? And SCR, we highly recommend having your client go through the process and see if they can get SCR funds to match to help support the request, because Barrier Buster staff will look at those requests, put those at a little higher priority.
I see there are a few people with their hand up if they want to unmute and ask a question.
Hi, this is Sheila. I have a couple of questions. One, in terms of relocation, is there I know you said that they can receive more than once in terms of relocation. So if they're going out of state, Is there an income gap at all on that, or is it just pretty open since it's one time?
The income limit for relocation would be that second slide, the non-emergency.
Okay.
Let me see if I can go back. Let me see if I know how to do this. I'm not the techiest person ever. So for example, for a family of 5, the income limit is $885 per month. Most rent for a family of 5 is going to be more than $885 a month. So any income over that 885 would become a co-payment for that household.
Okay. Then my other question on the home repairs. I know you said furnace 4,000. I think everything else was 1,500. Is there an income limit for that as well?
Yep, that is a
Somebody-
non-energy related assistance request, so it's the same income limits.
Okay. And then you started giving the phone number that's live that was on there, but you said it's Monday through Friday, but what time?
I believe it opens up at 9 a.m., but I can confirm. I
Okay.
can
9
confirm that
to 3.
before.
9 to 3. Thank you.
Hi, Alice. I have 2 questions, and thank you very much for your time. This is always really helpful to kind of demystify the SER. So the first is when it comes to support in the home for homeowners, would mold remediation be something that would be considered necessary in order to have somebody kind of return to the home? Would that be covered in that $4,000? Do you know?
The $4,000 was for furnace repair, but the other repairs is $1,500 limit, and as long as it was, I don't want to say as long as it was, but if it rose to the level of a health and safety issue for habitation, absolutely.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. And then my next question is on SER decision notices. Something that
Mhm.
happens often is that we'll often put forth an SER knowing that it's going to be denied simply to get the denial so that we can provide it to other agencies. Barrier Busters is a great example. So I run into a situation where when I'm the authorized filing representative, sometimes workers are willing to email me the decision notice. Sometimes they're not. Is there a blanket policy or procedure? Because unfortunately, we can't trust the mail in order to get that time-sensitive document.
Yeah, technically we are not supposed to email unencrypted documents to anyone but the customer. But I could check with our SCR policy and see if they would be willing to come out with a statement to address that.
Thanks. Just to express again how beneficial it is to have that sent immediately, because that way I can send that to, your partners like St. Vincent de Paul, Friends Indeed, all the
Mhm.
agencies that, need to see an SCR decision notice first. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and as an alternative, the customer would be able to log into My Bridges and would be able to download that decision notice as a PDF in real time.
I've never successfully been able to do that in over 10 years in the county.
Well, if you want to take my number or email and connect with me offline, I can definitely help you with that.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. Um, an application for SCR has to be processed within 10 days. The SCR payment, yes, it could go down if in a try to make it an easy situation. If the bill was 800 and the client had a co-payment of 400, but they paid 500, then the remainder of the emergency would be 300. DHS would pay 300, even if on the decision notice we said we'll pay 400 if you pay 400. If the client paid more than that, we will still only pay up to the amount of the emergency. And I know our policy is convoluted, so I hope that makes sense. both my phone number and my email are going to be included in the slides there. So if you run into questions and you want to reach out, I will do my best. If I can't answer it, I can reach out and find someone who can. Because I know nothing DHHS does is ever simple. I worked here for 25 years. I fully acknowledge that. They still won't let me write the policy, so.
I appreciate you breaking it down for us. And was really grateful to have that preview of your slides because you sent them early. Thank you. And so I was able to go in and just share like so much information. Yeah, on the program and what's available. I will have this slide. I'll attach it, and I hope to have it tomorrow. I'll send it out to the network through the listserv, and I'll attach these slides to that, as well as they will be uploaded to the website. So those of you that are here and want to have a copy, I'll have it on the website, and then I'll also email it so you can grab it that way.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
One last shout out, last call for questions. This is such a valuable, like having your attention to answer. This is so great. Okay. Well, thank you for your email. Others can email you directly then. So thank you. Thank you. This was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Okay. Our next two presenters come from my office of OCED. Sandy and Kara from the Foster Grandparents Program. And when the two of you are ready, you may take over the controls and share your slides.
Great, I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, hi everybody. Like Stacy mentioned, my name is Kara Otta, and I'm the program assistant for the Washtenaw County Foster Grandparent Program. And I'm joined by my colleague, Sandy Bowers, the program specialist for the program. We're going to share some information about the Foster Grandparent Program today and talk a little about how becoming a foster grandparent might benefit clients you may be serving. Okay, so a little bit about us. We are a federal volunteer opportunity and a division of AmeriCorps Seniors. Locally, we're sponsored by Washtenaw County and we're housed at the Office of Community and Economic Development. We've been active in Washtenaw County for 57 years as of 2025, so we've been around quite a while, and that program began in 1968. Right. Our foster grandparents are a very diverse bunch, and they come from a variety of walks of life. Currently, we have volunteers from ages 58 to 93, an average age of around 70 years old. The majority do live in Ypsilanti and the 48197 and 48198 area codes specifically, but others do reside in Ann Arbor, Milan, and other surrounding communities as well. Most of our sites are located in Ypsi, and we try to place foster grandparents at a site nearby where they live. Some are English language learners or people with first languages other than English, and some immigrants and newcomers as well. And something we strive to do in the program is find meaningful placement opportunities for all of our foster grandparents, regardless of age, English ability, or any other special circumstances they might be encountering. And I mentioned the majority of our sites are located in Ypsilanti, but we do have sites in Ann Arbor as well. And primarily, foster grandparents are serving in schools, currently as young as preschool age and as old as 7th and 8th grade. We also have foster grandparents serving at daycare centers, Head Start programs, as well as summer programs when school is in recess for the summer, and community centers, primarily the Park Ridge Community Center in south part of Ypsilanti. Most foster grandparents serve between 15 and 35 hours a week. We consider a standard schedule 20 hours a week, which is usually 4 days, 5 hours a day. We're really proud of our retention in the foster grandparent program. Average length of service for our volunteers is about 12 years, but we do have a handful of volunteers who have been serving for over 20 years. So we love to see them come back year after year and keep them engaged as they age. And our program has, one of the reasons I should say that we have such great retention is because we do offer several benefits, both to their health and wellness, remaining involved in the community, as well as things like our tax-free stipend. Because we're a federally funded program, we're able to provide an hourly tax-free stipend of $4 an hour. So foster grandparents who are serving that 20 hours a week standard schedule take home about $320 per month, which is a huge benefit to them, obviously. And because it isn't considered income, it doesn't interfere with any benefits they may be receiving for food or housing. So they find that to be very helpful. We also help with transportation, whether that means reimbursing for mileage to and from their sites or any program activities, or arranging ride services for foster grandparents who are no longer driving. We offer a meal allowance for every day of service, and that is $7 a day. And at any program events or meetings, which we do meet monthly, we also provide lunch at those meetings as well. We don't require any specific training or experience to become a foster grandparent. So another thing that we do is provide lots of training up front to prepare them to go out and service, and as well as ongoing training and development to support them at their sites and help them be successful and feel confident in what they're doing. But honestly, the most important benefit, I think Sandy would agree, is that remaining a foster grandparent does really combat isolation and loneliness that they may be experiencing as they age. Lots of studies have been done by AmeriCorps seniors that show that being a foster grandparent or engaged in service through AmeriCorps seniors has huge health benefits, really has great impacts on longevity, and that sense of community and belonging, all being united in service to support youth in their communities, is super impactful. We also offer recognition events throughout the year. We do a luncheon at the end of the school year, a summer picnic. So offering lots of opportunities to socialize and show our appreciation for everything they're doing in our community. We're super proud of our impact, both for the foster grandparents who are serving in our program and the youth and educators at our 25 partner sites across the county. We do collect information at the beginning and end of every school year to measure the impact of having a foster grandparent in the classroom on youth. And in pre-K classrooms, that looks like about almost 100% of students working with foster grandparents showing gains in school readiness and social emotional development. And in K-12, that looks like improved academic engagement. We see huge strides in participation and schoolwork completion, and just the ability to be successful and work toward a brighter future for those students who are struggling with things at home. In 2024, we're proud to say that over 1,200 students received service from our foster grandparents. And that intergenerational connection is a super support for any kind of struggles they may be facing at home or difficulties that they may be encountering in the learning environment. Here, I'll pass it over to Sandy.
So we will welcome pretty much anyone who's interested into our program as long as they're 55 or older. We do have to have them meet income guidelines, which is at 200% of the federal poverty level. We are allowed to take a couple deductions, but basically we do have to turn people away if they earn higher than that. We do background checks on all of the volunteers before they can begin service with us, which includes state, federal, and county background checks. We do ask upfront for that commitment of about 20 hours a week. And as Kara mentioned, they don't have to have previous experience working with children, but just a desire to help children and be part of the school environment. So to become a foster grandparent, it's pretty straightforward. We would do an interview. We would help them through the background check process. Once that's been cleared and they've expressed an interest that they want to join, we would invite them to an orientation, which is technically their first day of service. They would be paid for that. And then we include about 15 additional hours before they would be placed at a site. Right now, we're bringing people in and providing the training with the idea that they will start at a site beginning at the end of August when school starts again. But we do have activities throughout the summer that will keep them busy, and will begin to give them some of the payments and benefits that they'll be accruing. So how can you help us? Because that's one reason we're here today. And we also want to be able to help other agencies in Barrier Busters. But what we're hoping that you can help us do is refer your clients, family, friends, people that you might know who would benefit from such a program. They can call me or they can go to the website. We also have flyers and yard signs. So if your agency would be willing to post them or put up a yard sign promoting our program, we would be happy to bring them out to you. If you publish newsletters or mailers to your clients, we'd be delighted if you could put something in there about our program and the benefits to the community. We'd be happy to come out and speak to any of your clients or staff. And also, if you know teachers or sites that might benefit from having grandparents, let them know about our program so that we can expand beyond our current reach. As I mentioned, we have new yard signs made and we have tear-off flyers. We have other promotional materials as well. So if you just contact Kara or myself, we'd be happy to set something up and bring them out to you. And then how we can support you, we would be happy to have anyone from your agencies come to speak to our group about the resources that you provide or information that you might have that would be beneficial to seniors. Our group actually has really long tendrils out into the community. They're active in churches, they're active in their communities. A lot of them live in high rises with other seniors, and they're great ambassadors for our program as well as other services that they receive. So we would welcome you to stop by, speak with Kara or myself, or we would invite you to one of our meetings, which are held monthly at the Learning Resource Center, and we would be happy to have you present to our group. We also, on occasion, do service projects. So if there's something that your agency could use help with that seniors would be able to do, let us know and we could talk about working that out as well. So that's it for our presentation, but Kara and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Hi, this is Sheila again. I have a couple of questions. One, if they're unable to do the approximately 20 hours, say if they can do maybe 10 to 15, is that acceptable? Is that okay?
Yeah, we would not really support 10 hours.
Okay.
We have had volunteers who go down to 10 hours because of health reasons with
Okay.
the intent of, getting back up to 20. But if somebody, we do have a few that have really tight schedules for various reasons, and we would consider something like 16 hours a week, 4 hours, 4 days a week, something like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I had one more, but I can't think of what it is now.
All right.
Are there any questions anybody wants to unmute and ask?
I have a question. When you're looking at income levels, are you looking at just the person volunteering, or are you looking at whole household income? So for example, I have some seniors who might be looking to get more work and they themselves don't make, but maybe their husband's still working and bringing in more. So I just wasn't sure how the income requirements applied.
It is the household income. Most of our volunteers are single single people households, but we go by household income.
There's a question in the chat. I'll read it out. Does the 20 hours need to be during the week, Monday through Friday?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, it does. We have partnerships with schools, as Kara mentioned, and other youth centers, but it's all during the work week. And we don't really do anything in the evening. That doesn't seem to be, it doesn't match the population, and it also doesn't match when the children are available.
Any other questions? Checking the chat.
Well, thank you for letting us speak with you today. And please reach out if you would like more information, or if you'd be willing to hang some posters or put up flyers or put up a yard sign. We'd be appreciative.
Yeah, I like the idea of the yard sign. Is it just like it's just a kind of a foster grandparents join us and here's a link kind of thing? I'd be happy to put a yard sign up. That would be fantastic. We'll talk. All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you. The next session here, what I'd like to do is, give me a second. So I wanted to kind of do a shout out and see if there are other agencies that would like to give just kind of a brief impromptu, let us know of any program changes or anything that's happening this summer at this time or upcoming, anything you'd like to share about your program. If you want to, I can't really see the list of everybody if you raise your hand, so feel free to just unmute and let us know if you have something up and coming you'd like to share with us. Okay. All right, I'm not hearing anybody.
Well, I will announce something for Washtenaw County veterans and their families. We're going to have a free Washtenaw County Vet Fest at Washtenaw Community College on August 2nd for families and individuals from 10 a.m. to 3. It's free admission, free lunch, free prizes, and free ice cream for veterans and their families.
Very good. Do you have a flyer for that? Maybe you've already done this and I'm just not recalling, but if you want to send me that flyer,
Okay,
or
I can get a PDF.
Yep, I can add it to our website. You may also, if you haven't already uploaded it to our listserv, or you can send it to me and I can pass it on to the listserv.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Who else has things going on this summer?
Stacy, this is Lori from Ipsy Township. And not really things, we have a lot of things going on this summer. Obviously Row Fest is coming, and we have the restoration at Woodlawn Cemetery project that has volunteers coming out to help the second and fourth Saturdays all months. But on top of that, I'm wondering if someone from the foster grandparents program might be interested in attending our neighborhood watch meetings. Because we get a lot of older adults at our neighborhood watches, and there might be folks there who would be interested in volunteering. So just wanted to put that out. And Julianne Trudell is our neighborhood watch community engagement coordinator. So she would be happy to speak to somebody about getting that scheduled. And we also can hand out flyers or put it through our website.
Fantastic.
Yep, I wrote in the chat my info and somebody already replied. Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, we've got time for a few more. So while you're thinking about it, I will share and remind you all that next July, this July coming up, the next meeting we will not be having. It's on our schedule to not have our community meetings in July. So we will break for July and come back in August. Okay. So we have something, Mariel, if you're listed in Michigan 211, some of you might be getting an email from United Way for Southeast Michigan on July 14th regarding an annual review. Just check your spam folders just in case. Good to know. Thank you. Okay. So what I'm hoping and what I'm hoping is that we get I am waiting for an update from Housing Bureau for Seniors. If any of the staff that are on the call from HBS, I am specifically looking for Janet if she's going to be able to join us and give us an update. While I'm waiting to hear back on that, I can go ahead and just give a brief update and let you all know what our Barrier Buster funds look like. I will share my screen. Okay. So this is what we're looking like today for in June. So our funds, as you all are aware, are very minimal. They're depleting fast. We will open up the new allocation. The monthly allocations will initiate on July 1st. I believe that's a Tuesday. So next Tuesday, we will have the new allocation. So funding is limited. You'll see here we have what will happen is we have the 14.5. What this will look like is this will get split to housing, available for housing requests and for flexible funds. And then our Ypsi Township, the same, we'll split that 12.5, half to go to housing and half to go for flexible funding. The same again with Pittsfield and the city of Ann Arbor. I suppose I guess I think I do need to update this one. We are out of flexible funds for city of Ann Arbor. We do have some housing funds, but the flexible is not done. What I'm hoping to get is Janet from Housing Bureau for Seniors to join us. Here she is. Hold on. So we're going to pause on what I'm talking here, and then we will let Janet join us. Hi, Janet. I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak on behalf of the upcoming or the SCIP funds. Let me try that again. Janet, are you available?
Yes, I was muted.
There you are. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, I just said, got a whole spiel. But I threw together a couple slides, just, some
Okay,
visual, some art, just talking
perfect.
about
Go
SCIP.
ahead and share them.
Okay, great. And there. Okay. So, thank you, Stacy, for inviting me to talk about this. I'm on a lot of people have heard about SCIP through the community. We've been around for quite some time, actually. And I wanted to give some criteria of what it is that we are about, right? So SCIP stands for Senior Crisis Intervention Program. We are like I said, been around for some time, and it's generally a collaborative of senior facing agencies within our community. Some of us are specifically senior facing, others have different programs that are senior facing, but maybe work with all populations. So it's comprised of the Housing Bureau for Seniors, Catholic Charities of Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor Meals on Wheels, IPSI Meals on Wheels, Jewish Family Services, Legal Services of South Central Michigan. We also work very closely with OCED, and we have someone sitting at the table from Ageways. And generally what it is we put together, we get together and we talk about cases. A lot of times it's associated with a pot of money at the end where we can, hopefully help somebody out with money, because a lot of times that's what they need. But it's not just about that. SCIP is about the collaboration and talking about the clients and being able to share information, obviously with the appropriate ROIs in place, making sure that we have a good knowledge of what's happening so we can all dip in and maybe help this person however we need to. So through the years, we've had different funding streams. We've had it through originally started way back when I started. I don't have an official title, but I'm just gonna say chairing. That's not official in any way, any capacity. When I started, I guess, leading it is through a coordinated funding grant that we received back in like 2016, 2017. And we've had various types of funding that have come through since then. The funding has been sitting in OCED. And it gets spent through Bobby Johnson, like everything else at Barry Busters. It doesn't belong to any of the agencies on this list. We don't control it except for in terms of the application process, which I'm going to go into in a minute. But I want to why I'm talking today is very recently the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners has allocated through the senior millage funds some dollars that we can spend on behalf of clients through Washtenaw County. So it's available to anyone in the county who is 60 years or older, and they need to apply though through a representative. So it's very similar to Barry Busters, and not the same. So the criteria that we're looking for, the representative, if you're applying on behalf of your client, you have to be a trained Barry Busters, which I'm guessing everybody here is. They must be 60 years or older, and they must ride within Washtenaw County. Another big component that we look to and we strive for is sustainability. So the SCIP collaborative takes to heart the cases that come through and really kind of scrutinize to see what's happening. Is this a situation that is creating sustainability? It's not really easy to get sustainability all the time, but we do our best, and especially working with older adults, that's something that could vary. But we do like to see that there's something being done. We're not just throwing money at a problem, right? We want to make sure that we're trying to be agents of change and creating change. The commissioners have requested, and it's been allocated, that it be housing related. So any money that is spent needs to be related to a person's housing. And that could vary a lot of different ways, thinking about a person's, in our view, housing is healthcare, and there's many different facets of a person's life that could ultimately end up impacting their housing. So that's something we can talk more about that if you'd like. As a group, we did set a limit for income as 80% AMI. We are leaving some flexibility for extraordinary circumstances, because again, working with older adults, it's really can be unpredictable what the crises could be, and they could, potentially require more assistance. Same for funding limit, and I have a typo there, I apologize. We has set a $3,000 annual limit per household, again with some flexibility for extraordinary circumstances. And then basically what we've done is set up some instructions. There's an online application process. And here's some basic instructions for what to do. So it's important to get an ROI for SCIP and for Berry Busters. And when I'm off this, when I shut down my slides, I will put them in the chat. 'Cause I have all the documents that you'll need. Complete the online application. And then upload any relevant information. And then most of the fields within the application are required, so that's just be aware of that. It will be submitted to the SCIP Collaborative for review, so it gets dropped in my office. I run off a PDF, I send it to the SCIP Collaborative, and they talk about it and decide next steps, best course of action, whether or not they're gonna suggest that the funding happen. You may be asked to, or we will discuss the case at a collaborative meeting or via email. In certain situations, we might ask that you come and talk with us if we have more questions, but a lot of things can be handled through email most of the time, we found out. If you have more than one request per person, that's fine, but you have to submit a separate request for each application. And then once SCIP approves your case, this is the part that I don't love, and I'm absolutely open to suggestions if anybody has any. You'll be notified if the funding is granted, and then you'll have to fill out an application for Berry Busters because they are the fiduciaries of the funds. We don't handle any of the funds. We're not even getting paid for this, to be honest with you. Which is fine. I think it's an important thing. It needs to happen. So that's the biggest downfall I can see is you have to do it again, which all the information is generally the same, but for various reasons, we keep the records separate. So another thing to keep in mind as you're going through your application, there is a automated tracking number, and that is how Stacy's gonna connect the SCIP application with Barrier Busters, so she can, if there's ever any way to need to track it down or any way like that. So we're asking that in the excuse me, in the narrative for your Barrier Busters request is that you could simply put in there SCIP approved and then put your tracking number so we can track it back. Excuse me. And I think that's all I have. Oh, nope, sorry. Let me tell you a little bit of timeline. It takes give it about 3 business days for the SCIP group to take a look at it. You should hear back from us within that time frame. Should you be awarded, it takes another 1 to 3 days to get a check issued through OCD and Barrier Busters, pay BNB, all that. If your situation requires less time, please make it very clear on the application and we'll do our best. Can't make any guarantees, but we're doing what we can. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. And then I have questions. So I'm gonna shut this off because I am gonna throw the documents I have into the chat. And then I will also give them to Stacy so she can pass them on. And give me a second while I figure out how to shut down my PowerPoint because it's not cooperating. And I can get my other piece of paper. Okay, and then, oh, I hope you didn't want that presentation because I just deleted it, but it's all basic. Everything I just talked to you about is actually on the application itself. So it's really, I've taken it verbatim, so there should be no surprises. So questions?
Feel free to unmute.
I have a question, and thank you so much for presenting. When you calculate income guidelines, is it individual or household?
It is household, and with older adults, it's probably going to be mostly individual. Actually, there's going to be some where there's another partner. There's occasionally we have kids, but largely it's the one person.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another question. Are you going to post the online application link in the chat?
I'm trying to, yep.
Thanks so much.
It's not, I'm not being very successful now. I'll make sure that Stacy has it and she can send it out to the group.
It will definitely include it. I can have it ready tomorrow when I send out all the information from our meeting today. I'll have that. And also I'll be including it, some information on it on our website too, the Berry Buster website.
Any other questions? So I do want to add, so like I said a few times already, that SCIP has been meeting for quite some time now. This iteration is a little bit new for all of us because of we've opened it up to the county before, some of you might remember. This is a little bit different because we changed the platform and how we're doing the application. So I do ask for some grace in terms of us trying to work out some kinks in the beginning. I will also leave my contact information with Stacy if anybody has any questions. That being said, I don't, I kind of coordinate and I help facilitate the SCIP group. I work really, really hard to make sure the decisions aren't coming from me. It is a collaborative situation, truly a collaborative situation. So I just want folks to know that. Oh, question, Sheila.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Can you share like what some things that those 60 and over can utilize or apply to utilize the money?
Sure, it really can be anything.
Oh, okay.
And so the best example I'd like to give, and this is from years and years ago, we had a client who came in who was still in the working class and needed broke their glasses. Couldn't afford to get their glasses fixed, but they needed their glasses to drive and they needed to drive to get to work and they needed to get to work so they can pay their rent, right? And so it's like that kind of a thing. So SCIP was able, I don't remember, it was pretty nominal. That particular one was maybe $100 that we helped pay for a set of glasses. That's one kind of minor example, but a lot of times it's literal housing related where if they fall through the cracks and they might be over income at Hawk or they might be you know, not applied that way. So anywhere there. So that we really intentionally have not put ourselves in a box. But if you make the connection between how it impacts the housing, that's what we're going to be looking for. And that's what the commissioners have asked for. Okay.
Thank you.
I see a question in the chat. Will SCIP funding work like Barry Buster's funding, allocated monthly and then depleted? Or do you foresee more sustainable funds? All I know right now is that they've given us one deposit. And it's started with $100,000. And I don't know what's gonna happen after that. I'm hoping it becomes a regular, but I don't know.
And at this, to add to that, to the question, and at this time, we don't have a monthly allocation. So it is just an open account. And so if one month we're spending 10,000 and another month we're spending 20, then that's what happens. So at this time, we don't have a monthly allocation. It's just open.
Any other questions?
Okay, well, we'll definitely get, this was important. Thank you, Janet, for walking us through that, because this will be important and we want everybody and all the over 60-year-olds in residents in Washtenaw County, we want them to be able to access when they need it. And we want all agencies to be able to access that as well. Yes. And so the process, a little bit more than a typical, because we are asking you to fill out 2 applications. But again, like Janet said, it should be the same information. It'll come through Barrier Busters. I do take pride in responding as quick as possible within a day to the request. So my end should go quick. And then the next step is to get the check facilitated through B&B Payee. So we hope that we can abbreviate and not make it a lengthier process than it needs to be. And always let us know if this is an emergency type of a situation that we need to respond to quickly so that we can take those steps to respond.
If I could add to that, if you don't mind, if I have time, it just reminded me, so there's going to be a fair amount of back and forth. If we have questions, we're going to ask you questions. And so we're going to rely on you to get back with us. Same thing. We try to get back. The group is really good about responding to each other. And so just kind of keep that in mind if you do submit something. Okay.
And then we'll provide all the information. I'll have it tomorrow in an email, and then I will also the website, and then we'll probably keep the listserv informed as things, if there's any changes or anything that needs to be known.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad that worked out.
I'm gonna jump off because I have to be somewhere else, but thank you for
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. There was another comment here from Nancy that I wanted in the chat that I wanted to reply to that is not related to this. And then I think that this we can talk this and then wrap up our meeting. So Nancy's asked if we ever plan on doing an in-person Barrier Buster meeting. And I've been noodling over this for quite some time. And so as of right, let's go back. So about 2 years ago, 18 months ago or so, before my full-time movement into the program, there was an ask out there, and everybody at that time was more inclined to just continue with these the video Zoom calls for the meetings. But I'm wondering if that changed. And I do want to put something out there. So I'm going to just put this out there for you all to think about. What if we did something like either once a year we did an in-person and still make the Zoom available, or once a quarter, one meeting, so just a few for maybe for a year, something like that. So think about it, noodle it over with me. I would love to do that. I think there's value in meeting in person and seeing faces and having those sidebar conversations that these Zoom calls don't exactly cater to. It makes it difficult. And I would love to meet more of you face to face and get a face to the names for those of you that I'm working with. So that's my thing. I will, I think maybe you might see I'll do a little survey on FormStack and put it on the listserv, and those who want to can apply, put in some answers and give me some feedback. Okay, so in the chat right now, I'm seeing an in-person is good idea. Yeah, once or twice a year. Yeah, I'm certainly not thinking every session. I do like the convenience of this, so I would not be inclined to do it every session, but once a quarter, twice a year, something like that. When weather's good, I don't know. Things to think about, and it would be great to meet you all in person. Okay. So yeah, an in-person networking. Yeah, that's it. So you all can meet each other. Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna take these responses. I'm gonna keep thinking about it, and I'm gonna wish you all a really good summer. And go ahead and we can conclude the meeting. I will, however, hang out until everyone's gone in case anyone wants to ask any questions regarding Barrier Busters, a case they have, or anything other that I can provide information on. So remember, next July we won't be here, so I'll see you in August. And have a good summer. Thank you, everyone. All right. Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, Stacy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care.
You too.
Hey, Stacy, I do have a question about a request that I just received. This is Nancy from Ann Arbor Public Schools.
Yeah.
So I received a request for a person who needs a orthodontic work for a child. And so we have the bill there. They have received some funding from some other agencies, but it's not for the full amount. So I wanted to see if that is something that would make sense to put in probably like on Monday to see if it can be, I don't know if you do it on Monday or like the first, or like what's the timing that makes sense, or if it's allowable as a potential unmet needs request.
I think so. So, okay, so let me see. You're asking, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can stop our recording.